Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavit Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We'll chant from verses 6 to 10 of chapter 3. Karmendriyani sanyamya
कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य
या आस्ते मनसा स्मरन्
य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन्
इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा
इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा
मिथ्याचारः स उच्यते
मिथ्याचारः स उच्यते
यस्त्विन्द्रियाणि मनसा
यस्त्विन्द्रियाणि मनसा
नियम्यारभतेऽर्जुन
नियम्यारभतेऽर्जुन
कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगम्
कर्मेन्द्रियै कर्मयोगम्
असक्तः स विशिष्यते
असक्तः स विशिष्यते
नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वम्
नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वम्
कर्मज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः
कर्मज्यायो ह्यकर्मणः
शरीरयात्रापि च ते
शरीरयात्रापि च ते
न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः
न प्रसिद्ध्येद कर्मणः
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र
यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणोऽन्यत्र
लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः
लोकोऽयं कर्मबन्धनः
तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय
तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय
मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर
मुक्तसङ्गः समाचर
Saha yajna praja srishtva
सह यज्ञा प्रजा सृष्ट्वा
purovacha prajapatihi
पुरोवाच प्रजापतिः
anena prasavishyadvam
अनेन प्रसविष्यद्वम्
yeshavostvishta kamadhuk.
येषवोऽस्विष्टकामधुक्
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So in the last session, we were seeing a few dimensions of niyatam karma. That is, right now we have fixed karma to be action, and we are seeing the various dimensions of niyatam, because it's niyatam which qualifies karma here. Even if we take the meaning of karma to be action alone, if you think about it, there are infinite types of actions. An action can be a tamasic action, that is a lazy action. An action can be a casual action. An action can be stressful action. An action can be productive action, dynamic action, or unproductive action. So many possibilities arise. That is why it is not enough if it is merely said, do karma. Actually, what is interesting is, if you go to the Upanishads, that is the language which they use. See, in the good old days, the master used to give very little help to the student. That is, I am talking of verbal guidance. The help was more from the background. The healing used to be given, the higher Shakti was invoked, and the master used to see the energy pattern of the student and keep giving healing to that. Actually, that is the main work of a master. Now, the students were also at that level where they were able to receive that healing fully, and they were able to recognize the changes in their energy pattern. The level of the students was quite high. But as the level of the students deteriorated, the master had to explain things verbally. That is how these scriptures came. So initially, the explanations were very less, just in the form of aphorisms. One statement was given, and the student used to go and do meditation on that. Those were called the Mahavakyas or aphorisms, like Tattvam Asi, that thou art. That was the only help given. And then the student used to be with the master and keep receiving the healing Shakti. And the student used to keep meditating on whatever material was given. But as the deterioration, or I would say as the level of the student started coming down, then the master had to give more help. That is, he had to give help in a gross way. And that is the verbal communication. That's how the Upanishads came, a further explanation. Now, after the Upanishads, when the students' level further went down, the master had to explain more. That is how many other scriptures came. So, the Bhagavad Gita is nothing but an explanation of the Upanishads. The Upanishads are an explanation of the Mahavakyas or the aphorisms, one-liners. And those Mahavakyas were explanations of one mantra which the master used to give, like Om. Originally it was like that. The master just used to chant Om with that full bhavana, with all the energy packed, and the student used to receive that, and a complete change, a transformation used to happen. And even that Om is a kind of an explanation or a help in order to absorb the silence. If you go further back, originally the communication was only in silence. The students were at such an advanced stage that they were able to receive the guidance in silence. Now, when we come to the Bhagavad Gita, this was given during the Dwapara Yuga, one yuga before this. So now, the deterioration, or I would say the level of the intellect has further come down. Not only of the intellect, the mind also, because more impurities have been gathered. That is the very definition of Kali Yuga. See, the 4 yugas are there. Now, let's not get into the detailed calculations and all that. All we need to understand from a sadhana point of view is that in the first yuga, the purity of the mind and the clarity of the intellect was very high. The second yuga, that reduced further. The third yuga, it reduced further. 100 means 75, 50. And in the fourth yuga, which is the present one, it is 25%. So when that is the case, more help has to be given verbally. Otherwise, the student will not be able to absorb the energy. So as a sadhak, now you should understand the significance of these sessions. If you understand how the whole sequence has come about, starting from silence to the mantra, and then the Mahavakyas, the Upanishads, and further explanations. Let's say here the Bhagavad Gita. And now it is further being expounded. Otherwise, by yourself, if you just pick this up and read, you will not really get the full energy of what is being conveyed here. So, as a sadhak, when you are attending these sessions, you should understand that per se these words, these explanations have no meaning. All these things are to take you back from the verbal communication, to the lesser verbal communication, and then further less, finally the mantra shakti, and then to take you into silence. The moment you understand the context of these sessions, then you will enjoy these sessions, you will grasp all the points, but you will not get stuck here. You will use these sessions intelligently to purify your mind, to sharpen your intellect and gain more clarity, so that you come to a level where you're able to absorb that energy directly. If this context is not understood, then the chances are that you will get involved with the mere intellection and you will get stuck there. You will think this is the end all of the spiritual wisdom. Even though so much is being given to you verbally, I have to tell you one thing. What is being expressed is very less, and what is not being expressed is, the percentage is very high. When I'm saying what is not being expressed, it is not that the teacher does not want to express. The master, of course, would go all out and help. It cannot be expressed. If you take the highest truth, that cannot be expressed in words. So all these are only meant to prepare your mind, to prepare your intellect, to uplift your consciousness, so that you can experience the infinite in its fullest grandeur in silence. You don't start with silence. See, today the problem is many people artificially try to remain silent in the name of meditation. It doesn't work that way. When the mind is full of impurities and when the intellect is not sharpened enough, you will go on gathering various impressions in life as you go through various experiences. And those impressions will form a thick layer of karma, or a thick covering, we can say, a layer which covers the truth. And that will prevent you from getting into that state of silence. However much you try, you will find that it is almost impenetrable. That is why you require a guru who can come and give you various sadhanas by which you break down all these coverings. And then in silence, the entire truth is revealed to you. So, in the Upanishads, he uses the word karma and leaves it at that. That is the verbal explanation which is given in the Upanishads. He says, you get attuned to the infinite, meditate on the infinite. This is one level. If you cannot meditate, then what should you do? He says, do karma. If you neither are able to meditate nor are you doing karma, then what will happen? He says, you will devolve. You will get into lots of problems. It's very beautifully structured. I'm telling you about the Isavasya Upanishad. But the same thing is there in many other Upanishads also. It's not the name which matters. It is the set of principles which they are trying to convey. So all he's saying there is meditate, which is the higher sadhana. Meditate on the infinite and silence. If not, do karma. That is the only verbal help which was given. Now, what does he mean by karma? Here in the Bhagavad Gita, he is explaining in the entire 3rd chapter. Karma Yoga is nothing but the explanation of that one word karma, which is the sadhana for a sadhak to be practiced. You can see what was the level of those students there at that time. Just the master gave a little bit of help, do karma. They were able to use the yogic approach, penetrate, expand it, and get the entire message, which is that of karma yoga. Now further and further deterioration has happened. That is why the same yogic approach is being used and it is being expanded further. Otherwise, chances are you will misunderstand. And see, when something is not understood, that is at least better. But if you misunderstand something, then only the real problem comes. So if you directly get to the Upanishads, do karma, which means do action. Now you will say, I'm already acting. What is the big deal? It's not so simple. The entire sadhana has been summarized in a very terse form, in a very concentrated form, in that one word karma. Now, since a person cannot directly understand that, he is qualifying that word karma by saying niyatam karma. That's a further help which Krishna is giving us. So instead of saying do karma, do action, which is what in the Upanishad they are saying, he says do niyatam karma. So what is this niyatam karma? We use the yogic approach to expand it further and see the relevance of that in our lives. That is very important. So we were seeing some of the dimensions of the word niyatam. Niyatam means that which is inevitable, that which is assigned to you, that which is a part of one's nature. So you cannot act apart from your basic nature. And when we are talking of basic nature here, we are not talking of qualities like laziness. Even that is also an aspect of one's nature, but those things can be easily changed. We are talking of fundamental talents, fundamental skills which you have. Because these things have to be understood in the right context. Otherwise, an alcoholic may say, it is my nature to drink, therefore I am drinking. It can come to absurdities, So that which has been assigned to you, that which is inevitable, it has to happen this way. That is called niyatam. Now, interestingly, there is another dimension of niyatam, which means certain. Something which is certain, that is, which is bound to happen, that is called niyatam. There is a certainty about it. Now, when you understand these two dimensions, that which has been assigned to you and that which is inevitable, then this dimension certain becomes more useful. What do we mean by something which will certainly happen? Why is he saying there is a certainty? about niyatam karma. That which is a part of your nature will certainly manifest itself at some point of time. That is why what these masters say is, never try to hide your personality, never try to hide your weaknesses, especially when you go to a master and when you're taking guidance. The general tendency is to keep impressing others. So when a student approaches a master, the same weakness of wanting to impress continues. So what the student does is, he tries to hide all his weaknesses and tries to put up the best front. Now what he's saying here is that it will not work. It can work temporarily, but ultimately it is certain that your true nature will come out. Your nature will establish itself. So the best approach for a sadhak is that scan what your strengths are, scan and find out what are the areas where you need to focus, that is those areas of weaknesses. There is nothing to hide in this. Yes, these are the things which you have, and start working on those areas. Start doing your sadhana. The moment you take a frank approach, you will find that the Guru Shakti will start flowing into your life. Whenever a student tries to hide, now the master will withdraw, because he will not go by what a student says verbally. He will see whether there is that frankness, whether there is that truthfulness. So the master will not guide directly, he will withdraw and he will put the student into such situations. He will create certain situations where the real nature of the student will manifest. If there is a particular seed, it will manifest into a plant when the soil is conducive. So there are many people who go on suppressing their nature and they try to wear a mask without realizing the significance of this great principle, niyatam. Whatever your inner nature is, that is bound to manifest. This is certainly this will happen certainly. So niyatam karma means that which is bound to happen for sure. So since it is anyway going to happen, there is a certainty about it. As a sadhak, if you put in efforts to discover what your nature is and apply these principles and keep on purifying yourself, you will not have any inner conflict. A sadhak faces a lot of inner conflict because he tries to hide what his nature is and tries to be spiritual, I'm putting it in quotes, spiritual in an artificial way. The more you try to be spiritual and you hide whatever the other nature which you have, that will keep on increasing because the pressure will be building. One day it will burst out. So what these masters are saying is, no need to try to be spiritual. Instead, they say you try to be normal. Just live your life in a normal way and apply these principles. Do sadhana. As your personality interacts with these principles, it will get transformed, it will get purified. And when the purification keeps happening, you will automatically become spiritual. So spirituality is something like flowering. You cannot make a rose flower artificially. When the right time comes, the rose will automatically bloom. Similarly, when you keep on doing your sadhana and when you keep on purifying yourself, your personality will start blooming. That is certain to happen. So either way, this dimension certain works. When you suppress your lower nature, that is bound to express itself at some point or other. When you do sadhana and when you purify yourself, the spiritual element in you is also bound to express yourself. You will start flowering so beautifully. That is also certain. So, niyatam karma means that which is certain to happen. Now, if you don't follow this principle, instead if you try to suppress yourself because you want to impress others, you keep on wearing a mask, now that will not really help you. As a sadhak, when you come in contact with the master, when you start doing your sadhana, the fundamental quality which you should practice is to be frank with yourself. The block or the impediment to being frank with yourself is trying to impress, trying to put on a show. All those things will not work. So, niyatam karma, that which is certain to happen. So, when you align your energies with something which is certain to happen, now what happens is that there is no conflict within you. It is a smooth flow. The entire sadhana becomes very smooth for you. That is why when many people ask, sir, you're asking us to do yoga sankirtan, dhyana, the sadhana. When we sit and do, the mind keeps rambling, all sorts of thoughts are coming. I'm unable to focus. Now, did I ever tell you to focus or to concentrate during the Yoga Sankirtan sadhana? It doesn't work that way. The Yoga Sankirtan sadhana is designed along the same principles of niyatam karma. It is one karma which you're doing, the act of listening to those vibrations. Now that will go and it will purify your entire personality. And as the purification happens, the spiritual powers within you will start manifesting. It is certain to happen that way. So don't try to artificially be spiritual. In spirituality, there is no artificiality. The general tendency is to copy a master. When you copy a master, maximum you will become is a perfect carbon copy. That's all. But you can never become the original. Remember that. You should flower in your way. These principles are being given to you. Now you have your individual karmas to work out. You have gathered a lot of impurities. So you should apply the principles in your life, purify yourself, and you will bloom in your own way. A jasmine will not bloom like a rose will never bloom like a jasmine. But the common factor is the occurrence of blooming. Similarly, you see different masters. They were externally so different, but all of them had bloomed, had got connected with the infinite. I'm talking of true masters. So your nature gives that element of certainty. Supposing you didn't have your nature, then there is no certainty about your behavior. Just think about it. Today, let us say you are a musician. What is a guarantee that next day you will continue to be a musician? You go to sleep and you wake up, now suddenly you become a dancer now. There will be no certainty, continuity in your life. What gives you that certainty? It is the nature. That is why he says niyatam karma. Such a powerful dimension. I didn't explain it last week because I first wanted you to absorb the energy of inevitable and assigned. Once you absorb that to a good extent, then when this is given, it will create a very good impact. So this is what they called as dharma. Dharma means nature. What is your original nature? That is the infinite. That is certain. That is always there. What is your relative nature? That is your individuality. That is also certain relatively. So later on we'll be seeing, he'll say you should follow your swadharma, your individual nature. When we come there, we will see more dimensions of that. Very, very practical and powerful principle. Then last week I had also given you a couple of dimensions. Niyatam means being disciplined, being restrained. If you are disciplined in life, your energies will get conserved. If you are indisciplined in life, you will have no energy left. And in order to practice that principle of discipline in your life, there is one important criteria. That is, you need to understand the psychology of the mind. The mind resists discipline. That's the whole difficulty there. The mind doesn't want to come out of the comfort zone. When the mind is resisting discipline, when you try to force it, now you may follow any kind of discipline for a while, but the mind will be waiting for a weak moment. And the moment it finds it gets an opportunity, it will pull you away from the discipline. This can be any discipline. A simple thing like I'll do my exercises every day, whatever be it. So you should understand that the very tendency of the mind is to resist coming out of the comfort zone. Discipline means you should put effort to come out of your comfort zone. Only such people can be achievers in life. Even when it comes to health, see what is exercise, or even it could be a simple exercise like walking. You have to come out of the comfort zone of simply sitting or simply lying down. Now the mind will resist that. But unless and until you apply this niyatam, you will not be healthy. So how to practice that principle of discipline or restraint in life? First, understand the psychology of the mind. See, it is in understanding the mind in its entirety that you will be able to conquer it. So, since the mind has this tendency to resist discipline, what you should do is, you should try to make the discipline as enjoyable as possible. How? By analyzing and understanding the benefits of discipline. If a person is very lazy, let us say he is always lying down, even to get up and sit is a big effort. See, initially when a person is just sitting, standing, walking, all these things will be an effort. But after a while, if he continues in that laziness, sitting will become an effort. He'll want to lie down all the time. See, that is how tamas slowly conquers you, conquers the mind. Now you will have to reverse it. So you need to analyze and understand the benefits of discipline, how it can add value to your life, how it can give you that energy. So it's a small pain which you go through in order to get a lot of benefits. The moment you focus on the benefits, that will help you to go through that painful period. That's how it will be. Discipline will be a little painful to start with, till you come to a stage where you start reaping the benefits. Thereafter, you don't need to tell the mind. If you fail to practice this, slowly, your whole life will become very tamasic. There was one sadhak who sent a mail some time back. He said, when in another context, I think it was in the previous chapter, when this point about tamas was being expounded, it hit him very powerfully, because he said once these sessions had become online, now initially he used to sit and watch that. Like when it was happening in the auditorium, you have no choice. But at home, you always have a choice. No? Slowly, what he has written is that he started feeling a little lazy. Then he started lying down and listening to these lectures. And then a stage came where he didn't even bother to get up, brush his teeth, or have a bath and all that. Simply just, from his sleep, he used to keep the alarm, and when the alarm was on, he just used to switch this on. And then within 5-10 minutes, I think by the time the chanting is over, he used to go off to sleep again. In between, he used to sleep, get up. And when this point about tamas was given, it suddenly hit him, my God, I'm listening to these sessions, but am I really developing? No, because my very bhavana is wrong. So from the very next session, he said, I started getting up a little early, and then I had a bath and all those things psychologically helps. See, those things are meant to overcome that the tamasic tendency. And the moment he started practicing that, he started sitting and watching this. See, when I say sitting and watching, for many of you it may be amusing, because what is the big discipline in that? For that person it was a discipline, because he had got so used to lying down and watching. That's what I'm saying. If you don't follow discipline, even normal things in life will start becoming difficult for you after a while. What you can do very easily will become very tough. That is why disciplined action, not acting in any way you want, but niyatam karma, act in a disciplined way, in a restrained way. Wherever there is danger, you restrain your mind. That conserves your energy. Now, another dimension of niyatam, which is related to discipline and restraint, is niyatam means measured. Being very measured in your actions. Actions means that include speech also. Being measured in your speech. Being measured when you're acting. What do we mean by being measured? It means thinking and doing whatever is the right thing to do in any given situation. You know, they say that the rule of a carpenter is measure twice, cut once. Because once you cut, then if the measurement is not okay, a lot of alterations have to be done. Sometimes alterations will become impossible also. That is why they say measure twice and cut once. Similarly, you think twice. Twice means not necessarily twice. That's just a proverb, just a saying. Now you get the principle of it. Think properly and then act. Don't act and then think. There are some people who function like that. So being measured means not being impulsive. I told you, there are very many possibilities of action. One possibility is a person could act in a highly impulsive way. Impulsive way means just following your impulses or likes and dislikes. I just like to do it, therefore I'll do it. That is not taking an effective decision. If you were to analyze your actions, you will be surprised. Many of your actions will come under this category of impulsive actions. So, niyatam karma means overcoming the force of your own impulses and acting in a measured way. Doing those actions which will bring you a long-term benefit. Not only it will bring you long-term benefit, it will bring everyone concerned a long-term benefit. If you allow the impulses of your mind to take over, now there will be no direction, there will be no dimension in your life. Why is it that people get into addiction? I'm talking of addiction to drugs, addiction to alcohol, addiction to smoking. Because of they are unable to control their impulses. See, when impulses start driving your activities, sometimes you may be right, sometimes you may be wrong. It's a big risk which you're taking. It's like driving a car blindfolded. Chances are you will meet with an accident. Similarly, impulses cover your clarity. They say, there is a saying, love is blind. That statement is wrong because love is never blind. It is infatuation which is blind. They are using the word love to mean actually infatuation. True love, unconditional love, it doesn't make you blind. It actually opens up your eyes. It gives you more clarity. So whenever you are infatuated, so we'll change that proverb. It's not love is blind. It is infatuation which is blind. Whenever you get infatuated, it may be to a person, it may be to any object, then it blinds you. It blinds your thinking. And what makes you get infatuated or addicted? It is your impulses. So, do niyatam karma means overcome your impulses. Don't act based on your impulses. Always examine your impulses. See whether that is good for you or not. And then act. Then take a decision. I know some people who have taken major decisions in their life just based on an attraction or an impulse. How dangerous that is. The mind can get attracted to anything. The mind does not know what is good and what is harmful. The mind is like a child in you. Supposing you give the keys of your house to a child. Child means a baby or a child. Say 5-year-old. What will happen? It's like that. So, number 1, disciplined. Number 2, restrained. And number 3, being measured. Measured twice. Remember, it's a beautiful saying. Measure twice, cut once. This is the rule of a carpenter. So similarly in life, what is the rule of a sadhak? Think properly and then act. So niyatam karma, it's another very powerful dimension. Now, another dimension of niyatam is being devoted. Niyatam means being devoted to something. I'll give you 2 dimensions together. First one is niyatam means concentrated upon, where a lot of focus is there. That is called niyatam. So whenever you perform an activity, you should give your 100% there. Then it is niyatam karma. If your mind is scattered, you are performing karma, but not niyatam karma. So even right now, you are listening to this. If your mind is fully here, you are performing niyatam karma because your concentration is here. But if your mind is running to the past or it is running to the future, it's running here and there, then that is no longer niyatam karma. So if you want to practice niyatam karma in your life, this wonderful sadhana, what should you do? Whatever actions you're performing from morning till night, do it with full intensity and concentration. It's a practice. See, only practice makes a person perfect. Don't just try it for one day and say, I'm not able to concentrate. If you're able to do it 100%, then you don't require these sessions. These sessions are meant to slowly make you completely focused. So if you're eating, focus on eating. If you're watching a movie, focus on watching a movie. The problem is when you're eating, you're seeing something on the cell phone and eating. When you're talking to your family members, focus there fully. You're doing something else. Your mind is preoccupied somewhere else. So, concentrated upon. I'll come to devoted, because being devoted is an extension of that. Even though we started with that, I'm first explaining this dimension and then we will extend it to devotion. So first thing is giving 100% of you in each and every action. Today, your mind is not 100% present where your body is. A CEO of a company, he goes and sits on his chair. Now he is technically qualified, otherwise he will not be in that position. Now, in spite of all the technical qualifications, the question is, how much of his mind is there where his body is? A good percentage of the mind will be in the past, worrying constantly, something has happened. Good portion of the mind will be with the future, anxieties, what will happen? What will happen tomorrow? And see, once you start worrying and once you start being anxious about the future, there are enough things to worry about. You can keep on getting anxious. You know, when COVID came, everybody was anxious about COVID. Now, if you carefully notice, even before COVID, every year something or other kept on happening, due to which many people's minds were being anxious. In COVID, it was more prominent. And now, different variants of COVID, every now and then, you know, some people read the news, oh, this variant has come, I don't know what is going to happen. Immediately the mind will start becoming very anxious. As far as the yogic approach is concerned, what is going to happen? Only two possibilities. Either we will be alive or we will not be alive. Simple. If we are alive, we will do sadhana. If we are not alive, no problem. We will come back again and we will do the sadhana. That is how Krishna starts his session, you know, in chapter 2, in the initial portion of what Krishna talks. He says that, Arjuna, there are only two kinds of people, Gatasoon, Agatasoon. Those who have gone. And Agatasoon means those who are going. Only these two possibilities. He divides the entire humanity into two types. Those who have gone and those who are going. So find out which category you belong to. Have you gone or are you going? If you are going means do the sadhana. Simple. So the anxieties for future, that torments the mind if you are not careful. So all the energies keep getting frittered away in the worries of the past and the anxieties of the future. And later on he'll be saying there is another thing called excitements in the present. He calls it jwara. Jwara means fever of doing. So the excitements in the present can deplete your energies. So I was giving you that example. A CEO comes and sits on his chair. He is very well qualified technically. He's got, let us say, double or triple degrees from the best universities in the world. In spite of all that, his mind's energy is frittered away in all these channels. So it's a very small portion of a person's mind which is present where his or her body is. Now what he's saying is do niyatam karma, which means gather your mind from all quarters and give your present activity your full attention, your full focus. Very, very powerful sadhana. You need to practice it, and over a period of time only you will be able to master this. As I told you, don't just practice 1 or 2 days and say it's not working. These may be a little difficult to start with, but it is not impossible. There are yogis who put in years and years of practice. How is it that a person becomes a yogi? It's not just by sitting and doing nothing. It's not that. All these sadhanas, when practiced, converts a person into a yogi. These principles actually have the power to transmute your energies completely. So concentrated upon. Whenever you do any action without focus in a distracted way, that is karma. When you do it with full focus, it is niyatam karma. Or to the extent that focus, that concentration is there, to that extent it is niyatam karma. It is a sadhana. Now, the other dimension which I was telling you, being devoted to. Now, even a worldly person can concentrate. Now, what differentiates between concentration merely at the worldly level and the concentration which we are talking about here, which can help you to advance spiritually? That is where that dimension comes. Devotion. If you are devoted to what you're doing, then that activity becomes worship. That activity becomes spiritual. No activity is per se spiritual or worldly. It is your bhavana. If you do it with all the honesty and devotion in a dedicated way, then that action becomes puja for you, worship. When you do the same activity without that devotion, then it is no longer a spiritual activity. It could be studying of scriptures also. There are many people who study the scriptures in a merely analytical way. They concentrate. They absorb all the points. But it is more like an external research. So if you want to develop spiritually, you need both these things. On one hand, you need to concentrate and use your logic. On the other hand, you need to develop devotion. It is knowledge and devotion which can uplift you spiritually. If knowledge is one feather of a bird, devotion is the other feather. Without one, the other becomes useless as far as the spiritual evolution is concerned. So that's why these two dimensions have to be absorbed together. On one hand, focus, concentration. On the other hand, complete devotion. If you practice this, then everything which you do in your life will become a puja, will become a worship. You don't need to have a separate worship time and all that. For a yogi, he is doing puja 24/7. Even sleep is also an offering to the higher. Everything which you do, if you do it as an offering to the higher, then that becomes the highest worship. Higher means, the infinite, supreme. It is not per se the activity. Right now, one person is talking about the Bhagavad Gita. Now, just because that person is talking about the Bhagavad Gita doesn't necessarily mean that action is spiritual. If there is no devotion while talking, if there is no sincerity, then that action becomes very worldly. Now another person is listening to that. If that person listens to it with full devotion, with a full heart, then that action becomes spiritual, that will elevate the listener, but the speaker will remain where he is. So it is not in the action per se, it is the bhavana which determines whether something is spiritual or something is worldly. So when you see the existence, automatically you will get attuned to that supreme power which is beyond this existence. See how every day the flowers bloom. Isn't that a proof of that supreme power in function? Every day, see how the hunger comes in your body, and when you eat, your hunger gets satisfied. The right amount of hydrochloric acid is secreted by your stomach, and your stomach has all the mucus lining so that the acid does not eat up the stomach walls. See how beautifully the system has been designed. The moment you understand the creation in depth, you begin to feel the presence of that higher power, that supreme power at work. So everything which you do, you will start doing it as an offering to that infinite supreme power. You will do it with a lot of concentration on one hand, with a lot of care. Just imagine, just for argument's sake, supposing, let us say, you come to know that Lord Krishna is going to come to your home today for your next meal as a guest. Just an imaginary example. So now, how will your state of mind be? You will immediately keep things in a very clean way. You will cook the food with full bhavana. You will taste it 10 times. You will ensure it is good. All those things will happen automatically, So just if I ask you to imagine this, if so much of purity comes in your activities, now if you truly start feeling the presence of the infinite energy which is there everywhere, Lord Krishna or any God need not be searched somewhere. The supreme energy is there right now in you and around you. It is very intricately interwoven with your life, in each and every experience of your life. When you're breathing, there is an inhalation, there is an exhalation. Whenever we exhale, what is the guarantee we are going to inhale again? The very breathing process is happening. Isn't it a miracle? Every expression of this universe is a miracle, is a divine expression. So once you start feeling the presence of God, the presence of the infinite in each and every action of yours, then automatically you will start doing that action with so much of care, with so much of devotion. Your karma will become niyatam karma. Right now, this is being explained to you. If the speaker sees you as a human being who may understand, who may not understand, now there will be no bhavana in the discourse. But if the speaker sees the listener as the manifestation of the infinite, this is how any true master sees everyone, including the students. He never takes the position of a guru. See, as far as a master is concerned, it is only God who is the ultimate guru. Others may call him guru and all that, but he doesn't feel that way. So when he sees the students as a manifestation of the infinite, then the act of expounding this wisdom will become very, very sacred automatically. So start with concentration and slowly go to the level of devotion. And when you do that, then your actions will become very powerful, because you will automatically give your best in each and every action. Worldly success and all will follow. That's why in the 9th chapter Krishna says, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate. Means you just think of me. Me means the infinite, Think of the infinite. I will give you yoga kshemam mahamyam. I will give you kshema, worldly success. I will give you yoga, spiritual success. Everything will be conferred upon you, he says. Why? Because when you get attuned to the infinite and when you act, automatically your actions will become best. You will give it your best. You will convert it into niyatam karma. Then automatically you will attract worldly success and you will also get spiritual success. So, niyatam kuru karmatvam. Do niyatam karma. Don't do mere karma. If you do mere karma, you will only keep yourself busy. It's not enough if you're busy. You should be productive. And here we are talking of both productive from the worldly sense and from the spiritual sense. So niyatam karma is such a powerful sadhana tool which has been given to you. Now it is up to you to absorb this and practice it. Okay, so we'll stop with this here. Very, very powerful principles have been given. You reflect on them, and in the next session we'll go into more depth. The rest of the verse, also contain a lot of wonderful messages for us. Before we do the Nididhyasana meditation, I will take up one question which has come. This question has been asked by Deepak. Thank you, Yogishri. Prompted by your comment on not blindly believing in anything, I have a question. You mentioned an incident about how some good things happened to a sadhak on the day they registered for the empowerment program. I don't understand how the two events are even remotely connected. My intention is not to isolate one particular incident. The line between blind faith and faith backed by reason seems very blurry when I hear about such incidents. Isn't it somewhat blind thinking to assume that the two events are connected? Humble pranams. Thank you in advance for answering. Deepak. It's a very good and useful question which has been asked by Deepak. This will benefit all the sadhaks. Now he is referring to that thing which I had mentioned, that a lady had registered and immediately something good happened. It's not only one person. Many sadhaks have sent such mails. Now what he's asking is, isn't this blind faith? How are these two things interconnected? Now before I will give a specific answer to that example also, but first we'll see the principle. You have two things. One is reason and the other is faith. Reason means establishing the connection between the cause and effect very clearly. That is called reasoning, logical thinking. The other aspect is faith, where you don't exactly know the cause, but you have faith in that. You have the faith in the effect. Now, in life, we require both these things to function. Mere logic or reason alone is not enough for us to function, because we are not designed that way. We are not computers. We are not machines. A robo may be able to function that way, but not a human being. We require faith also to continue. For example, right now, you are sitting in your room and watching this. There is an inherent faith that your ceiling will not fall down. I'm not putting unnecessary thoughts now in your mind, but I'm just saying you have that faith that the ceiling will not fall down. It is because of that faith that you are able to listen to this session peacefully. So if we remove faith from our life completely, then we will not be able to function at all. As I told you, every time we exhale, we'll be afraid to exhale. What is the guarantee that we'll be able to inhale again? Every time you go to sleep, it is the faith that you will wake up in the same body. That is what is helping you to sleep peacefully. Supposing, let us say, there is no guarantee. Actually, in life, there is no guarantee for anything, if you think about it. Again, because of this answer, I don't want you to get into a lot of anxiety and worry. But this is what the truth is. We have that faith. Every time we go to sleep, we have that faith that I will wake up in this same body, in the same house. That is why peacefully you go to sleep. Your life actually starts with faith only. A baby has implicit faith on its mother. How does it develop so much of faith? Even father, the faith on father comes later. Mother only tells the baby, this is your father. And it learns. But otherwise, how did it develop that faith? It is very interesting. Because of the deep connection. 10 months it was in the womb. It has been listening to the heartbeat. They say that a baby, a newborn baby, can differentiate between the heartbeat of the mother and another person's heartbeat. That is why in our ancient system, they said when a baby is born, the mother should keep it close to her chest and feed the baby. It is not about mere external feeding. It is not about feeding the milk alone. But psychologically, the baby feels so secure. The incubators and all are fine. It can give the external temperature, but it can never be a substitute for the emotions. So first thing is, there are these two things, reason, faith. I am giving you a very brief answer now because this actually has so many principles. As we go along, I'll give you more and more of these principles, which will help you to learn more about the various factors in your life. But just a few things I'll cover now. So the two in a very short way. One is reason, other is faith. Both are required. Now what is said by these masters is, when it comes to reasoning, ensure that you don't do over-analysis, unnecessarily connecting various things and you go on analyzing without coming to a conclusion. That is not good. Similarly, when it comes to faith, what these masters are saying is, ensure that it is not blind faith. It is backed by some reasoning. Because blind faith is like acting on impulses. Faith based on reasoning means, supposing you meet a master. Now you keep listening to that master over a period of time. You find that many things which he is saying, many things which he is giving are all very logical, practical, and you practice them, you get good benefits. Then based on that, you develop faith in that master. Why is that faith required? Because the infinite is unknown. There are many things in life which you cannot understand merely through logic. You will have to feel it. You will have to, certain things can only be experienced. Like in spirituality, the higher things can only be experienced. So for that you require the faith. But that, when it is backed by the basic reason, basic logic, then you are walking on firm ground. Blind faith means you can just go and believe anyone, you can believe anything, there is no direction, no dimension at all. That is a very dangerous thing. In case the blind faith is directed towards the right person or the right idea, then that is okay. But if it is directed towards the wrong person or a wrong idea, it can cause a lot of problems. So that is why these masters said, be careful in faith. Ensure it is not blind faith, but it is based on reason. But actually faith is faith only, it's a belief. Whether it is blind faith or whether it is backed by reason, faith is belief in an unknown area. That is why you're saying it is a little blurry. So this is the difference. Now coming to that incident about registering for this 22-day course and something good happening. Yes, when you look at these things externally, you cannot understand the cause and effect. Somebody is registering for the event. Some health problem is getting solved. What is the connection, sir? This is your question. Rightfully so, because if you look at these things externally, you can see no connection. But there are many laws, spiritual laws governing your life. One of the law is that the law of energy. There is an energy pattern which is created in you based on your actions, speech, emotions and thoughts. That energy pattern can be negative or positive. Now what these masters are saying is, you attract circumstances into your life based on your energy pattern. The entire spiritual sadhana is to change that energy pattern only. So you become a creator of your life by changing the energy pattern, by learning to control these forces within you. Now when you see, when we talk about that example where a person registers for the course, there are three factors. One is the person's bhavana, the attitude. Number two, the course itself is an energized course. And number three, the healing which the master is giving in the background. Now these three factors put together is what can change the energy pattern. So when a person registers for the course with a genuine bhavana, with a genuine intention, a desire, the ichha, of wanting to change his or her life in a positive way. Now that desire, that bhavana generates a lot of positive energy, number one. Number two, as I told you, this course itself is a high-powered, energy-based course, infinite energy. So you get connected to the infinite energy by registering with a good bhavana. And number three, the master is also giving the preparatory, the healing energy is being sent the moment a person commits. So all these three factors put together changes the energy pattern of a sadhak even before actually attending the course. And when the energy pattern changes, many blocks in life get dissolved. It may be a financial issue, it may be a health issue, it may be a relationship issue. Because ultimately, the world is a projection of your own mind only. And when the energy pattern is changed, the thought pattern, the emotion pattern, everything changes. So externally, when you look at it, the person registered for the course, something good happened. They both look totally disconnected. But if you look at it from the point of view of the energy, then there is a lot of connection. So supposing without the right bhavana, if a person just merely mechanically registers for the course, then that effect will not be there. Why has this registration process been kept? So that you consciously, with full choice, with good bhavana, you commit yourself. The registration is only a reflection of your inner commitment. Then the healing energy will reach you. So, without all these explanations, I just said the person registered, immediately something good happened. It apparently looks like there is no cause and effect there, but there is a lot of cause and effect. More than this, as we go along, we'll see, because what is this energy, the healing, so many aspects are there. Whenever the context comes, these principles will be given here and there. And not only that, in the different empowerment courses, these principles will be explained in greater detail, and not merely an explanation, but the person who attends will be made to experience. That is when your wisdom, you gain the true higher wisdom. Without the experience, in merely theory, it's very difficult to absorb these principles. Okay, so I'll just stop with a brief explanation of this. Further to this, anyway you're attending the weekly sessions, so you will be getting more and more. You'll be learning more and more about the secrets of life. And in these empowerment programs, the actual transfer of energy will be done. This 22-day now finding rhythm in life. Just imagine a person registers with a good bhavana that has a good healing effect. Let me put it that way. Then it becomes more logical, There is such a powerful change of energy flow. Then you can imagine, when the same person attends the course with a good bhavana, what unimaginable benefits the person will gain. That is the beauty. Okay, so now we'll do the Nididhyasana meditation. Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. With every breath, I'm becoming more and more relaxed. Feel the divine vibrations. With every breath, I am going deeper and deeper into myself. Beyond my physical body, beyond my emotions and thoughts, lies my essential self. My self is divine and infinite. From this moment onwards, I choose to do the sacred sadhana of niyatam karma. I am Swayam Prakashit, self-illuminating. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. Offer your gratitude to your Guru, and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers, your toes. Rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, cheeks, forehead, top of the head, back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. So we had a very powerful session today. These dimensions of Niyatam Karma, which are being given to you, are highly transformatory. They can actually give you direct results. Practice them and see. As I was saying, no need to believe these things in a blind way. As it's being explained, you can see that there is a lot of meaning to it. Now practice it in your life. And when you see the results, you will develop a lot of faith. That faith is required for you to do your sadhana in a consistent way. Otherwise, it's very difficult for a master also to communicate, because what the master is experiencing cannot be put into words. It is the faith of the student which helps him or her to continue in this path without any distraction, to travel in this journey with the master. Okay. And the other announcement about the 22-day program, we are starting the course tomorrow. It's going to be very, very powerful. Come with the desire, the ichcha, to completely change your life for the better. Anyway, in the initial empowerment, the very first day, the special empowerment will also be given to develop the Ichha Shakti. That is always done in all the empowerments, especially for this. It is absolutely required. So there are going to be so many sub-empowerments within the main empowerment. Every day is going to be a new day. Not merely for these 22 days. After that, your entire life is going to become very, very fresh. A lot of healing will be given. So during these 22 days, no need to do any other sadhana. No need to do your yoga sankirtan sadhana and all that, because this itself is going to be very intense. Come with a pure mind, come with that innocence and absorb everything which the Master is going to give. Because if you have decided to do it, as it said, niyatam karma, do it fully, with full concentration and with full devotion. That combination of logic and devotion will help you absorb every little thing which the Master is bound to give you. Okay? So, today also no need to do any other sadhana. I think every Sunday attending this session itself is a sadhana. And then from tomorrow we'll get into the inner journey of finding rhythm in life. Every Sunday these sessions will be continuing. So you will have the 6 days of that course and then one day, a rest day, where we'll be continuing with these verses. Okay? So thank you very much. Hari Om.